The ache of waiting to be chosen has a particular sound. It is the silence after sending the message. It is the pause after the interview. It is the empty seat beside you at dinner. It is the way a person can refresh a screen and pretend to be checking information while actually asking, "Am I wanted yet?" The ache is not only about another person or one opportunity. It is about identity standing outside a door. When someone feels unchosen, the whole world becomes a doorway that might not open. A delay becomes a verdict. A neutral expression becomes a warning. A short reply becomes evidence. The body starts living as if selection is somewhere else, held by someone else, and the self must remain incomplete until the outer world grants admission. This episode turns toward a different assumption. Being chosen can begin as a state before it becomes a circumstance. That does not mean forcing people, denying consent, or pretending discernment is unnecessary. It means the soul stops kneeling outside every door and begins to occupy the identity of one who belongs. There is a quiet dignity in this shift. The person who assumes they are already chosen does not become arrogant. Arrogance is usually another costume for insecurity. The chosen state is calmer. It does not beg. It does not chase proof every hour. It does not turn another human being into the keeper of its oxygen. It stands inwardly selected before the scene changes. The old habit may be familiar. You enter a room and scan for who approves. You send an application and imagine rejection before anyone has read your name. You care for someone and silently ask whether your place is secure. You create something and wait for applause to confirm that the work deserves to exist. The state is always the same, not yet chosen. Neville Goddard's law of assumption can be applied here as an identity practice. The question is not, how do I force a particular outcome? The question is, what self am I occupying while I participate in love, work, money, and visibility? Am I the one waiting to be selected, or the one for whom selection feels natural? To assume being chosen is to move the center of identity inward. It is to let imagination establish a felt belonging before circumstances vote. This is not a guarantee that every person, job, or opportunity will say yes. It is a refusal to let every possible yes or no define the worth of the self who is living through the process. A woman named Nadia shows the pattern clearly. She has applied for a role she wants deeply. The company is slow to respond. On the first day, she feels patient. On the second day, she begins to check the portal. By the fourth day, the portal has become a mirror. Each refresh seems to ask, "Are you chosen yet?" Her body answers no before the company has answered anything. Nadia's old state does not wait for facts. It creates an identity from absence. She becomes the person outside the room, the person hoping to be noticed, the person rehearsing disappointment so it will hurt less later. This rehearsal feels protective, but it drains the life from her next interview, her current work, and her evening at home. The shift begins when she stops treating the job as the source of chosenness. She still wants the role. Desire remains honest, but she enters imagination and sees a small scene. Walking into a room where her contribution is expected, not questioned, she hears a warm greeting. She feels the normalness of belonging. The feeling is not fireworks, it is relief with posture. From that state, Nadia updates her portfolio, answers another email, and prepares for a different possibility without desperation. The actions are practical. The inner posture is different. She is no longer trying to earn the right to feel selected. She is acting from the assumption that being chosen is consistent with who she is. This matters in relationships as well. A person who waits to be chosen may read every silence as exile. The phone becomes a court. The other person's mood becomes weather inside the chest. A mature assumption does not deny the importance of communication or mutual care. It simply refuses to let another person's timing become the entire foundation of selfhood. The chosen state says, "I can desire love without abandoning myself to get it. I can communicate clearly without begging. I can receive affection without treating it as a temporary accident. I can recognize where I am not met and still remain inwardly selected. This is not coldness, it is self-possession. The practical exercise begins by finding the door. Where do you feel outside? A relationship, a job, a creative field, a family system, a social circle, a financial level, a spiritual promise. Name the doorway honestly. Then notice what you have been doing outside it. Pleading, checking, proving, shrinking, over-explaining, waiting, performing. Next, imagine the door already open, but keep the scene simple. Do not force a particular person to say a line. Do not build a fantasy palace. Find the essence, being welcomed, expected, selected, included, recognized, held. Let the body feel what it would be like if belonging were normal. The normalness is the point. Then choose one sentence from that state. I am not outside my own life. I can stand as one already chosen. Selection is natural to this identity. I move as someone whose place is real. The sentence should not be used to fight the world. It should be used to enter the self who no longer waits for worth. SATS can deepen the chosen state before sleep. In a drowsy condition, let a tiny scene imply selection. A door opening. A name called warmly. A message received with calm. A seat saved. A hand resting on the table without anxiety. Let the scene repeat until the feeling becomes ordinary. Then sleep from that ordinary belonging. Revision can heal moments that train the unchosen identity. If a memory still says you are passed over, ignored, rejected, or replaced, revise the emotional meaning. See the younger self held in dignity. See the scene no longer naming worth. This does not erase history. It changes the state that history is allowed to command today. A grounded caveat must stay present. Assuming you are already chosen does not remove another person's freedom. It does not guarantee a specific job, relationship, or public response. It changes the inner position from which you live, communicate, prepare, decide, and receive. That change can be profound without needing to become control. The chosen state also improves discernment. Someone desperate to be chosen may accept crumbs and call them destiny. Someone occupying chosenness can ask better questions. Is this mutual? Is this healthy? Is this aligned? Is this door actually mine? Or am I trying to prove that any door opening would make me real? That discernment is part of the miracle. The chosen state does not simply make a person more attractive to others. It makes false doors less hypnotic. It reveals where longing has confused intensity with belonging. It allows the soul to stop bargaining for a seat at tables that never honored it. In work, being chosen may express as readiness. You prepare because your contribution belongs somewhere. You speak with clarity because your voice has a place. You apply without turning the application into a verdict. If one door closes, the state does not close. You remain the person whose place can be revealed through another route. In love, being chosen may express as warmth without pursuit. You can care deeply and still remain centered. You can answer honestly and still sleep. You can receive attention without becoming addicted to it. You can notice absence without immediately calling yourself abandoned. The inner selection holds you while outer clarity develops. In creative life, being chosen may express as showing the work. The page, song, design, business, or message does not need to be hidden until universal approval is guaranteed. It can be offered from the state of belonging. Some people will pass by, some will recognize it. The work still deserves to enter the room. The bridge of incidents can be handled carefully here. A chosen state may lead to different actions, different conversations, different timing, and different openness. It may help you notice opportunities that the unchosen state would have dismissed, but it should not be framed as a mechanical promise. It is a change in identity that participates in life through ordinary channels. A self-audit belongs in the middle of this practice. Am I trying to be chosen, or am I moving as one who is chosen? The difference can be felt. Trying to be chosen often performs. Moving as chosen expresses. Trying to be chosen apologizes for desire. Moving as chosen honors desire without kneeling before it. There will be moments when the old ache returns. A message will not come. A door will not open when expected. Someone will choose differently. The mature practice does not use these moments to punish the self. It says, "This hurts, and still I do not return to being fundamentally unchosen." Pain can be felt without becoming identity. That is a holy distinction in Neville-inspired work. Feeling pain is human. Assuming pain as the final name is optional. The chosen state does not make someone numb. It gives pain a room without giving it the whole house. The heart can be tender and still inwardly selected. If the word chosen feels too charged, use the word placed. I am placed. I have a place. My presence belongs in the right rooms. The feeling may soften. Some souls need gentler language because chosenness has been tangled with old rejection. The exact word matters less than the identity it opens. A daily practice can be done in mirrors, doorways, and thresholds. Before entering any space, pause and feel already allowed. Before sending any message, feel not outside yourself. Before opening any result, feel your identity already held. This trains the body to stop asking every threshold to decide your worth. At night, return to the selected seat. Imagine sitting where you belong, not fighting for it, not explaining why you deserve it, sitting. Let the body learn the absence of audition. Let the shoulders drop. Let the face soften. Let the world be allowed to rearrange without being pressured into becoming your only source. Nadia's story ends without making the job a god. Perhaps she gets the offer. Perhaps another role appears. Perhaps the delay teaches her to show up differently. The point is that she no longer lives as a person outside the door. Her preparation has dignity. Her waiting has dignity. Her desire has dignity. That dignity is already a different life. This is why assuming chosenness can be transformational. It heals the posture before it chases the prize. It gives the self back to itself. It allows action, love, visibility, and ambition to arise from belonging rather than hunger. The outer yes can then be received as confirmation, not as oxygen. The final practice is small. Choose one doorway that has been holding too much power. Close your eyes and see yourself on the other side, calm and natural. Hear one sentence: I am already placed in the state that belongs to me. Let that sentence enter the body. Then take one step today that a placed person would take. Do not overcomplicate it. The placed person may send the email. The placed person may stop texting for the night. The placed person may apply again. The placed person may decline what feels disrespectful. The placed person may rest. The action will vary. The identity is the thread. The ache of waiting to be chosen may still echo sometimes. When it does, do not shame it. Place a hand over the heart and remember that the ache is not the authority. The state is chosen within. The soul does not have to remain outside the door. It can enter the feeling of belonging now and live the next moment from there. One more nuance is useful. Being chosen inwardly does not mean every outer no is secretly a yes. Sometimes a no is information. The chosen state has enough dignity to receive information without collapsing into unworthiness. That is freedom. A second nuance: the chosen state does not need to advertise itself. It does not need to tell everyone how chosen it is. True inner selection is quiet. It changes the way a person waits, speaks, prepares, and walks away when necessary. When the old ache asks for proof, offer presence first. Proof may come, but presence must not be postponed until proof arrives. This is the inner reversal. You stop making belonging the prize at the end of the chase and begin making it the state from which you move. The world feels different when every doorway is no longer a judge. Some doors become invitations, some become lessons, some become redirections. None of them get to decide whether the inner self has a place. The unchosen state often teaches a person to become hyper-alert. Every room is scanned. Every pause is measured. Every person with power becomes a possible source of relief or injury. This alertness can be mistaken for intuition, but much of it is fear looking for an explanation. The chosen state does not remove sensitivity. It gives sensitivity a home, so it no longer has to patrol every doorway for signs of exile. Belonging begins as an inward permission to stop auditioning. Notice the word auditioning. It has a specific feeling. The smile becomes slightly too careful. The message becomes too polished. The answer becomes too long. The body leans forward, asking silently, "Is this enough for you to keep me?" The state of already chosen lets the body lean back into itself. From there, warmth can remain, but the performance softens. Nadia's job application is only one doorway. A similar ache appears when someone waits to be invited into a friend group, chosen by a partner, recognized by family, selected by a client, or welcomed by a spiritual community. The outer forms differ, but the inner posture is the same. Life is imagined as a room where everyone else is inside and the self is still waiting at the threshold. The exercise of chosen identity begins by entering the room inwardly. Not the exact room necessarily, not a forced scene involving a specific person. Enter the feeling of place. See yourself seated, expected, calm. See your hands resting without needing to prove. Hear normal conversation around you, not as a miracle, but as atmosphere. Let the ordinary quality of belonging become the medicine. This ordinary quality is important because desperation often imagines chosenness as a dramatic rescue. Someone finally arrives, finally sees, finally declares what was missing, but the fulfilled state is usually quieter. It feels like no longer needing to be rescued by every response. It feels like having a center before the call comes. It feels like letting love, work, and opportunity meet someone who is already standing. In a relationship context, the chosen state may change the next message. The old state writes from hunger and later calls it honesty. The chosen state may still write with affection, but it does not write as if one reply must determine existence. It can say what is true with fewer hooks. It can wait without vanishing into the wait. It can receive without turning affection into an emergency supply. In professional life, the chosen state may change how an interview is entered. The old state tries to become whatever the room wants. The chosen state brings preparation and presence. It still listens. It still answers wisely. But it does not abandon its own shape to be selected. This often makes a person clearer, not less adaptable. Belonging within gives the mind room to respond. In family patterns, the chosen state may feel almost rebellious. If someone learned early that love had to be earned through usefulness, silence, achievement, or self-erasure, then assuming chosenness can feel dangerous. The body may ask, "Who am I if I stop earning my place?" That question deserves tenderness. The answer is not arrogance. The answer is a human being allowed to exist before performance. Revision can be gentle here. Choose one scene where you felt passed over or unseen. Instead of replaying it as proof, imagine the self in that scene surrounded by dignity. Perhaps an older, wiser version enters and stands beside them. Perhaps the room loses its power to define them. Perhaps the younger face relaxes because the verdict has changed. The revised feeling is, "I was never outside myself, even there." A daily chosen state practice can be attached to thresholds. Before opening a message, assume belonging. Before walking into a store, assume belonging. Before posting work, assume belonging. Before asking for what is fair, assume belonging. These ordinary thresholds retrain the body. The point is not that every room must approve. The point is that approval no longer creates the self from scratch. The phrase "already chosen" may also be directed toward life itself. Already chosen by the state. Already chosen by the fulfilled identity. Already chosen by the divine imagination within. This keeps the practice from collapsing into dependence on one person or institution. The outer yes may be beautiful, but the inner yes is the foundation. Without it, every outer yes becomes fragile. There is a sober side to this. The chosen state may require walking away. If a situation repeatedly demands self-abandonment as the price of entry, the chosen state may recognize that the door is not worthy of worship. Assumption is not always about making one door open. Sometimes it is about becoming the self who can stop confusing a locked door with destiny. At night, imagine a seat with your name on it, but do not make the image childish. It can be simple: a chair at a table, a place in a meeting, a home key in the hand, a message that feels mutual, a room where your contribution is expected. Feel the absence of audition. Let that absence become familiar. Sleep as one who has a place. The closing shift is this: do not wait to be selected before you stop rejecting yourself. That is the old bargain. The new assumption begins with inward selection. From there, you can love more cleanly, work more clearly, receive more honestly, and leave more bravely. When leaving is the dignified act. Already chosen is not a demand made on the world. It is a home returned to the self. There is an important difference between being chosen and being chased. The old ache may confuse the two. It may want dramatic pursuit because pursuit seems to prove worth, but the chosen state is not addicted to pursuit. It can enjoy being wanted, but it does not require another person to perform urgency in order to feel real. This distinction brings peace to love and clarity to ambition. The chosen state also changes how rejection is metabolized. A no may still hurt, a closed door may still disappoint, but the pain does not become a permanent name. The state says, this door did not open, and still I am not outside life. This opportunity did not select me, and still I am not unselected as a being. That is not denial. It is spiritual adulthood. Some people need to practice being chosen by their own future. Imagine the future self turning toward you with recognition, not judging the pace, not mocking the past, but saying, yes, this is the path. This image can be powerful because it removes the desperate demand that one current person or institution carry all the weight of destiny. A practical chosen state action might be improving the standard. Not as punishment, but as alignment. The chosen self may update the resume, clean the room, raise the rate, choose better rest, dress with care, or speak more truthfully. These actions are not attempts to earn existence. They are expressions of someone who has stopped living like an afterthought. There may be grief when you stop auditioning. Parts of the old personality were built around winning approval, and they may feel unemployed. Let them grieve. Approval once seemed like survival. Now belonging is being relocated within. The grief does not mean the old state was correct. It means a long contract is ending. The final bedtime scene can be a doorway opening from the inside. Instead of standing outside, imagine discovering that the handle was always on your side. You open it, enter, and find no crowd to impress, only a quiet room that feels like place. Sleep from there. Let the body learn the end of audition. One of the deepest signs of the chosen state is the ability to receive without shrinking. If someone praises you, let it land. If a door opens, walk through without apologizing for being there. If affection is offered, do not immediately search for the expiration date. The unchosen state distrusts good. The chosen state practices allowing good to feel normal. This receiving practice may feel vulnerable. Being unchosen can become familiar, and familiar pain sometimes feels safer than unfamiliar acceptance. Move slowly. Let one kindness be received today without argument. Let one opportunity be considered without self-erasure. Let one room be entered without scanning for rejection first. The phrase "I am already chosen" can be paired with action. I am already chosen, so I prepare well. I am already chosen, so I speak truth. I am already chosen, so I do not chase what dishonors me. I am already chosen, so I can wait without disappearing. This keeps the state from becoming fantasy and lets it become conduct. If another person chooses differently, the state remains available. This is crucial. Chosenness is not dependence on one yes. It is the inner place from which yes and no are both met with dignity. The right doors can be welcomed. The wrong doors can close without taking the soul with them. Before sleep, let the body feel the absence of audition one more time. No leaning forward, no proving, no bargaining, just a quiet seat at the table of your own life. Let that seat be occupied. Let the nervous system learn that belonging does not have to wait outside until morning. The ache may return, but it will return to a different home. Instead of becoming a command, it can become a signal to re-enter the chosen state. Place has already been assumed within. From that place, love, work, money, and visibility can be met without making them gods. If only one doorway is practiced this week, choose the doorway where you most often feel excluded. Practice entering it inwardly before outer proof appears. Feel the body no longer rushing to earn a place. Feel the voice no longer explaining its worth. Feel the quiet fact of place. The chosen state may begin as a few seconds. A few seconds is enough to learn the taste. Return to that taste before messages, applications, meetings, and memories. Let the taste become familiar. Familiarity is how a state stops feeling borrowed and starts feeling like home. Do not use the practice to avoid grief. If something hurt, it hurt. Hold the ache with dignity, but do not let the ache become the entire identity. The chosen state can make room for grief without building a permanent altar to rejection. The final word is belonging. Not forced, not loud, not dependent on one door. Belonging as an inward state, a spiritual posture, a way of walking into life without asking every face to decide whether you may remain. When the ache asks, "Am I chosen yet?" answer from the state rather than from the screen. Yes, I am placed within. Yes, I can move with dignity now. Yes, I can desire without disappearing. These answers do not force the world. They restore the self. From that restored self, the next step becomes cleaner. Send, wait, apply, speak, rest, or walk away, but do it as one who has already stopped standing outside their own life. The ache of waiting to be chosen often begins long before the current desire. It may have roots in childhood rooms, school hallways, friendships, family comparisons, or early love. That history deserves compassion, but it does not have to be the script. The state of already chosen is a way of ending the old audition at the level of identity. One practice is to stop asking, "What will make them choose me?" and ask, "How does the chosen self live today?" The first question bends the body toward performance. The second returns the body to authorship. The chosen self may still care, prepare, communicate, and risk, but it does not turn every action into a plea. A second practice is to receive neutral moments neutrally. Not every pause is rejection. Not every unread message is exile. Not every delayed decision is a no. The unchosen state colors neutral space with old pain. The chosen state lets neutral space remain spacious until actual information arrives. This alone can bring enormous relief. A third practice is to let being chosen include self-selection. Choose your own standards. Choose your own care. Choose your own return to dignity. If a situation asks you to abandon your center in order to belong, the chosen state may quietly decline. This is not bitterness. It is alignment. The mystical heart of the practice is that imagination gives the soul a place before the world rearranges. When you feel placed within, the outer world is no longer carrying the impossible task of creating you from nothing. It can offer, respond, open, close, and reveal. You remain. Let this become very practical before bed. See one scene where you used to wait outside. Now enter it already held. Feel no need to impress the room. Feel no need to prove the right to breathe there. If emotion rises, let it rise. The body may be learning a form of belonging it has wanted for years. A chosen state can be practiced through posture. Stand as if you are allowed to occupy space. Sit as if no apology is required for existing. Walk as if the ground is not deciding your worth with each step. The body often reveals where the unchosen state still lives. Let the body participate in the new assumption. This does not require dramatic confidence. It may begin as a slight uncurling, a breath that does not ask permission, a message written with fewer extra explanations, a price stated without shrinking. The chosen identity enters through these small physical permissions. Over time, the ache changes tone. It may still want love, opportunity, and recognition, but it no longer uses wanting as proof of emptiness. Desire becomes cleaner when it rises from a self that already has a place. The closing measure is not whether every door opens immediately. The measure is whether the self remains inwardly placed while doors are opening, closing, or still undecided. That is the freedom hidden inside the assumption. It makes room for desire without letting desire become exile. It lets the chosen state become the ground beneath every next step. Let the last act be a return to place. No more standing outside the inner door. No more making worth wait for a reply. No more treating selection as oxygen. The chosen state may be quiet tonight, but quiet belonging is still belonging, and it can be carried into the next room, the next message, the next morning. If doubt asks whether this is allowed, answer with posture, breath, and one dignified action. Belonging does not need to become loud before it becomes real. It can begin as a hand relaxing, a message sent without pleading, a night slept without asking rejection to explain the self. It can begin right here, before any door has moved, while the soul remembers its own place and lets that remembrance lead with quiet authority, tenderness, courage, and peace. The chosen state is not something to perform for the world. It is something to rest into before the world responds. From that rest, desire becomes cleaner, action becomes simpler, and love no longer has to begin as self-abandonment. If the ache rises again, let it point you back to place rather than back to pursuit. You are allowed to want deeply and still remain seated within yourself.